All right, I'm here with David Azizi from the law offices of David Azizi, and this is a very special hangout we are doing. This is something that is a little bit new age. It's something that I don't think any attorneys or lawyers have participated in a hangout related to this topic, but it's near and dear to a lot of Googlers' hearts. It's near and dear to a lot of tech geeks, if we can call them geeks or nerds, whatever they want to be called. I'm one of them, so I'll jump on that bandwagon. But Google released Google Glass in a beta testing in March of this year, in March of 2013, and I actually have several friends that have Google Glass. And what Google Glass is it's a frame that goes over your face. It's not actually glasses, it's just the frame. And on the upper right-hand side, there is a hologram. There's basically a piece that is a hologram that will infringe on your sight. Now, I've tried on Google Glass. I can't personally wear it because my frame is in the way. So I can't see the hologram because of the frame of my glasses. But if I take my glasses off, I can see it. So this has been an issue for the law enforcement in the state of California, mostly because Google is based in California. And a lot of Googlers have that, and a lot of people have used Google Glass while driving. So as an attorney or as a lawyer, David, if someone got into an accident with Google Glass, what would you say?
Well, if they got into an accident, I'm a plaintiff's attorney, so I usually represent parties that have been injured as a result of an accident. But if my client was somebody who did have a Google Glass on at that point in time, and it's a sideswipe case, it's an issue of a red light, green light dispute, it would hamper the case because the argument is, was this person distracted as a result of using their Google Glass or not? From a defense perspective, the defense attorney, if my client got rear-ended and that person had a Google Glass on at the time of the accident, obviously from a plaintiff standpoint, we would want to look into it and determine whether at that point in time this person was using their Google Glass and they were distracted by it or not. The topic that we have for tonight is it legal to wear your Google Glass or not? So there's one question as to whether is it legal to just simply wear the glass, and then the second question would be is it legal for you to be able to use the Google Glass while driving? I think the answer to the first one, the second one, which is it legal to use your Google Glass while you're driving, that's an easy one. I think any court, even though there might not be a particular specific statute on point, everybody would say anything that distracts your ability to pay attention to the road is against the law, even though there's not really anything in particular in the statute right now. This first question which I posed, which is it legal to be able to wear your glass while you're driving? Interestingly, this morning I was able to come in contact with a CHP officer, and I mentioned to him that we're going to have this community tonight, and we're going to have to discuss as to whether you can wear your Google Glass while you're driving or not. And I asked them, as a CHP officer, if you came upon a driver that had their glass, would you pull them over and give them a ticket if they're simply wearing the glass? And he indicated to me that yes, he would. And I asked him, well, what would be your basis? And his argument was, well, look, his understanding of Google Glass is that it's to be used in order to go ahead and get your email and some of the other functions that this particular glass has. And his argument was, if you're driving, why would you need to have the glass on? There's no reason whatsoever. So if the minute you get into your car, just like your cell phone and any other item, you have to take it off or put it away and focus on driving. So therefore, he said, I would argue if we went before a judge is the presumption is that if this person has it on, that they're using it. And if they're not using it, then why do they need to have it on? It's not like sunglasses. It's not like to be able to see in front of you. So it'd be an automatic, according to him, basis for him to be able to pull somebody over and say that you're getting a ticket. And so that's what he told me. I think at this point in time, I've looked to see if there's any specific statute that prohibits Google Glass in California. There isn't. But if it becomes a circumstance or situation like cell phones where everybody's using them all the time, I'm sure California will come up with a statute that prohibits you even wearing it while you're driving, even if you're not using it. And so that's basically, in a nutshell, what my thought is. And I've looked as far as the statutes in California as to what would be relevant to be used in terms of a police officer saying that for now this was obstructing the view, and there's some statutes that we can provide links to, and I believe you provided a link for it in our community tonight for people to take a look at, which number one talks about glasses, use of glasses while driving. Number two, there's also some statutes that deal with any obstructions of view while driving. So those are probably some of the ones that come into play. What is going to be interesting is, I'm sure everybody's heard it by now, is like you had indicated, one of the users of the Google Glass here in California actually got a citation by a police officer. Her contention is, I was not using it for purposes of anything. It was simply just wearing it at the time of the incident, and she has pled not guilty to the charges, and it'd be interesting to see how the courts rule on it.
And that is going to be an interesting case, and it will be something that we both document on davidazizipersonalinjury.com. So if you want to keep up on that case, go back to David Azizi Personal Injury and click on the blog, and we will update what happens. But Ian Lake actually has a question, and this is a great question because this is something that is going to really be an issue in the future. David, how do you think the perception will change or need to change when Google Glass is mounted on prescription lenses and cannot be removed easily? So let me verify. If I worked at Google and I know Google employees who have glasses similar to mine, and they have had a pair of glasses where the piece of the Google Glass is basically put on their prescription glasses. So they have to wear their prescription glasses to see, but the Google Glass is right here. What do you think is going to happen with that?
It's interesting. It's interesting that he asked that question because I foresaw something of that nature coming about. So the way I posed it to the police officer, as far as the question was, look, we all have cell phones. We get into our car. It's hands-free. But at some point in time, we're required to be able to go ahead and dial a number using our phone, and then once we're done dialing, we put it away. So how do you combat against being able to establish or prove that the person who at that time was driving was either texting or was going to go ahead and just simply dial? And in fact, I myself once got pulled over by a police officer here in Beverly Hills, and he said, "You were using your phone." I said, "No, I wasn't." And I even dialed the number. I said, "I have Bluetooth in my car. You could see that I'm using Bluetooth. I was simply getting my phone to be able to dial. So how do you want me to dial?" And today what the officer said is that he would have to be able to observe as to through your car, which was very difficult, that you are actually using your phone to text or you're watching a video or something of that nature. So when he presents himself in court, he can say, "Your Honor, he wasn't dialing a number. He was actually watching a video," or I could see through his phone that he was texting, which is probably very difficult for a police officer. And it'd be interesting to see if they would even allow people to have that kind of a prescription glass or not. But that's a very good question. I don't know how they would go about doing it because, like you said, it could be within your prescription. It's small enough that the police officer would never be able to tell. That having been said, as a personal injury lawyer, I would say that even if Google does come about with a glass where it fits into your prescription glass, I would say for the safety of yourself and what I've seen as a lawyer, how tragic accidents happen, and you take a moment, the rest of your life is ruined. Both yourself, you can get seriously injured by not paying attention to the road, as well as any other people that are on the road in the event you get into an accident. But that's my answer.
And it's interesting because I have, like I said, for me, I can't wear Google Glass. My vision is very bad, and if I put on Google Glass, like I said, my frame blocks it. But I do know Google employees who have had Google Glass installed into a more fashionable frame. And I think as we move forward, we all know that the iPhone has become a fashion statement now. And it may be the case that Google Glass becomes a fashion statement and people wear it just to be cool and not use it. And it will be an interesting bit of, laws and legalities in the future if it does become a fashion statement and people just slap them on just to drive, just to be the cool guy. Because we know sunglasses started that way. So, you know, and Google Glass actually has sunglasses that can be installed as well. So that's a whole other argument for another time, that, you know, maybe I need sunglasses because I have an astigmatism or something.
Fair enough. And the other thing that I just thought about is that Google being Google, they're smart. I predict that what's going to happen is that just like our cell phone, where once you get into the car via Bluetooth, this connects with your car, that Google is going to be able to set it up so that if, for example, you're like my phone right now, I have a Samsung Note. It has a driving mode on it, so that basically the minute I get into the car, I could hit driving mode. And Google will probably set up something to where this glasses, the minute you get to your car, it's going to sync up with the Bluetooth. And so if you're asking for navigation, it will simply direct you via its voice through the car, saying make a left, make a right, wherever you're going. Or if you're getting any emails, it would probably go ahead and have it read back to you through that. So